what we're going to do now is very briefly really give you a quick, very quick, and I promise it will be quick, overview of what Irish Music Education is all about, and give you a quick tour of the actual website. And then we will get down to the business of making some music, which is of course the nuts and bolts of why we're all here anyway. So I'm sure you'd be delighted to know that's going to happen very soon. Myself and Patricia, for, as a point of information, know each other over 10 years, actually, at this point. We do. Over 10 years at this point, and we've had many conversations over that time about the types of needs for music education in the country. And one of the things that kept coming up again and again was that there is a constant disconnect that exists in the country when it comes to music education. We have many voices for music education in Ireland, and they cover many genres, and they cover voices within classrooms and also voices outside of classrooms, both in informal and formal ways. Every single voice is valid, but often those voices don't connect, or perhaps, you know, if you think of it in terms of one small community, on one hand you might have a traditional Irish group, in another corner you'll have a jazz ensemble, in another corner you have the primary teacher plugging away at music in his or her classroom. In the other corner you've got the secondary teacher, and by the way, the primary and the secondary might never meet to talk about what they're actually doing as regards music in both of their classrooms. And you've got community choirs. All of these things are happening. It's multifaceted, and it's fantastic that all of these different things are happening with music education in the country. And believe me, they are, and there is fantastic work going on. However, often those groups have absolutely no idea what the other one is doing. And that is a failing of music education in this country. And that is why we felt that there needs to be some type of umbrella to join all of those dots. And only then can really music education say it is a strong voice in the country, only by that coming together. And really what Irish education wants to do is create this, to use the term, create this community of practice, and create the conversations around music education for the country in all of its many forms. With that in mind, what we've done here is try to create this resource, and one crucial thing about this resource is we've moved away from the idea of committees and membership. Nowhere on this website will you see sign up, join up, become a member, pay €30, pay €100, whatever it may be. It doesn't exist. That was very much on purpose. It's not about committees. It's not about who's the president, who's the secretary. It's not about who's in and who's out. It's meant to be complete open access. And really its strength will be driven by how much people actually engage with it and how people actually participate in its own activities that we have, that Patricia will guide you through. And not just that, but use the web as a tool to make those links between each other. Let us know what everyone is doing. Share the amazing practice that is going on, and hopefully create opportunities to keep strengthening and keep energising into the future more and more new initiatives and more links that will really create, as I said, that strong, united voice for music education. So I'm going to pass over to Patricia, who is going to give you the whistle-stop tour through the actual website to give you an idea. And actually, don't forget, most importantly, all of you Facebookers out there, an amazing way to keep up to speed. We have a Facebook page. Make sure you join that too. Patricia.
Thanks very much to everybody and for your patience. I'm going to keep it very quick and simple just to introduce this particular resource to you. And it's just as Alva said, we were putting this together. I suppose we felt in the spirit of generosity that we were putting it together in order to give it away. That in some senses we don't want to retain ownership of it. And something like this is a resource for the music education community, but in all aspects of that music education community. So whether it happens in class or outside class, or in the community, or in a performance centre, or whether it's instrumental, or whether it's in jazz or rock, pop, world, can I say world? That it's trying to connect all of those. But we began by trying to connect music education research with music education practice. And the website is only a shop front for a set of actions that you'll be able to follow and see through the website, and that's what I'm going to show you here now. What we have here on the top of this website is a lead article. So what we plan to do is to have a monthly guest curator of the website who will come from different aspects, different areas of music education, and who will simply write an article for people to think about, to ponder on, perhaps to respond to. This is the first lead article, and you can have a look at that yourself when you log on to the website. The actions that surround that, that's maybe a reason for logging onto the website. You might also find out what's going on in other areas of music education when you're on the website. But one of the things that brings people together, researchers together, and perhaps practitioners who want to know more together, is the second action, which is a reading group. And the idea is that we might meet about 3 or 4 times a year, just with set text, and it brings young researchers, young practitioners together with older, more mature researchers and practitioners, and those who just want to have a sense of what's going on. And following the meeting, there'll be an article on this on the website, so that you can follow if you can't be at the reading group. You can follow what's going on. The first text that we're reading here is Mary McCarthy's Passing It On. Many of you will know about Mary McCarthy, who's written a very interesting book about the transmission of music in Ireland. And again, it's the transmission of music in all sorts of forms and for various different purposes, and the role music takes in Irish society around that. So it's a very, very interesting book. It only goes so far, and we're kind of asking the question, where do we need to go next with this? What do we need to know about music education in Ireland? And that's partially where this website comes in again, because if I run down to the bottom of this, we have a mapping music education project there, which again we're inviting people to contribute to. We don't know the edges of music education in Ireland. It happens in health, it happens in art centres, it happens in informal ways, it happens in autodidactic ways. There's all sorts of ways that music education happens in Ireland. And what we're trying to do is to get a sense of that, so somebody coming to the website, perhaps who's from Ireland, perhaps who's from another country, can get a sense of the fullness, the wholeness of music education in Ireland. And that's the Mapping Music Education project. And with that then we have practice groups, and practice groups, this is the first of the practice groups, and it's where we'll have workshops where musicians, again in all facets of music genres, in all types of music education, will come together to improve practice, to share practice, to work on practical aspects of music education. And sometimes that's just to enrich the music educators themselves. Sometimes people need something purely for themselves. It's not something they're going to use in an educational activity with children or adults or young people or whatever age are involved in education. And so we're moving on to the first of those practice groups in a few moments. We have Elaine Agnew here, and we're very pleased that she's been able to come to lead this first practice group. With that as well, in terms of finding out information, we have a library. You can see the library here, and what we're doing is gradually adding references to that library of any publications about music education in Ireland. They might be, and most of them at the moment, are postgraduate pieces, because that's where the information about music education is being developed. That's where very often where the publication about music education is going on. There's various reports. Jerry has already mentioned some of those reports, and they'll be in there as well. There's some books, but it's again trying to be useful to the music and music education community, where there's one place where you can go and find out what is there, what's known about music education in Ireland, what is written about music education, and where can I find out more. And then we have a voicing conference, and in some sense, just before I say something about the voicing conference, to say that what we're doing is inviting people to participate with this resource as a focus. So Alva and I have set up some actions. There are probably things that you're thinking that need to be done for music education in Ireland. One of them that I have on the back burner is a teacher's orchestra, because again I find that so many teachers spend so long getting really good at their instrument, and then they find themselves in a classroom and they have no context within which to continue performing that instrument. The idea of the teacher's orchestra is that you have a context to come together to work on pieces of music. There's a possibility of commissioning a piece of music every year and having a summer course where you might workshop that piece of music. Along the lines of Coma, some of you might be familiar with that. Unfortunately, I can't do that as well. There's probably somebody out there who would like to head that up, who would like to organise that, but I think it's something that would be very, very useful for the music education community. The Voicing Conference was put together to bring researchers in music education and practitioners in music education together, because sometimes they operate as if the other doesn't exist at all, and it's to connect them together so that they're aware of what's happening in practice and what's happening in research. The idea of this is it will be a single day. It will be like the Young Scientists exhibition. It will be a poster presentation where everybody will have a little booth to showcase what it is they do, whether it's in music education practice, it might be in music in a health setting, it might be music therapy, it might be music in post-primary schools, it might be choral performances, it might be research on any of those, but it's a place that can connect all of those together. The Voicing Conference, if you log into the website, you'll find some more information about it. Will be in late spring. We call it a spring conference, but it's getting later all the time. So this is just really the whistle stop tour around it, because we want to get on to making some music. And if you make some music, we can also have it on our website, so that if you have a look here in this Dropbox, if you'd like to drop your music into that Dropbox, tell us a little bit about it, and we'll find a space for that within the website. Anything that's interesting about a piece of music, Mary Immaculate College with her choir in Carlow works in wonderful ways with other art forms with her choir in order for them to get to know the music better and to have a kind of an embodied understanding of music. And that's very interesting for other music educators, and so you'll be able to see some of her music on the website and how she goes about that.
Actually, Patricia, I'm just going to take a second, because before we're going to be moving on to the performance now, but I would like to acknowledge this great website, and many people have complimented the website, is actually the result of a lot of work by Eric Fitzgerald, who is here with us tonight. So
and Eric is the first to drop music into the Dropbox. So he's multi-talented. So the kind of principles or the thinking behind all of this is very much on a democratic principle, that there would be access for everyone, that it would include all types of music, all types of performers, those that are professional, that are amateur, that are children, that are novice, all of these types of things. And so we were thinking about the launch of this resource, and we were thinking what better way to begin than with a piece of music that's called The Great Learning, that fits in very nicely with music and music education, but that was composed by a revolutionary and visionary musician, Cornelius Cardew, who was creating music for everybody to perform, of any type of musical expertise. And The Great Learning is a set of 7 paragraphs based on a Confucian text, and we're only going to perform a tiny bit of that in order to launch this resource. And you'll find a postcard on your chairs, and it looks like this. And this is the score of The Great Learning. And anyone will manage to tune into this and to use it once we get a few directions about it. And I'd like to introduce you to Elaine Agnew, who will lead the performance of The Great Learning by just giving us a little warm-up beforehand and explain to us how it is we might work with this.